From Keti to Tunga Maji to Robochi, the villages around the nation's capital are under siege from kidnappers. And that's not all. The FCT Police Commissioner, who's my guest on the program today, has his work cut out for him. We're in the last months of the year, which are usually rife with crime. And a leaked document from the Customs Service alleges that 5 prominent locations in Abuja are already targeted for terrorist activities by Boko Haram. Should the residents of the nation's capital be worried? We'll let you know more this week on Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Kunyam Bush along Airport Road, Robochi Gwagwalada Forest, Kwaku Forest in Kuje, Unesha Forest in Toto Local Government Area of Nasarawa State, and Gegu Forest close to Idu Town in Kogi State. According to a memo from Customs, these villages within and around the nation's capital are harboring Boko Haram terrorists who are allegedly planning an offensive against the country. The last thing we need is a return of Boko Haram attacks to the nation's capital, after the military has spent years ensuring they never return. Also worrisome is a spate of kidnappings in many suburbs in the nation's capital. Last Christmas, it was tears at the Keti village as he experienced over 20 raids by kidnappers in December alone. Now, Tunga Maji has been hit by kidnappers. Official figures say 10 people were kidnapped, but there are reports that that figure could be much more. What is going on? Located on the western border of the Federal Capital Territory with Niger State, Tunga Maji in Gwagwalada Area Council is 33 kilometers to Abuja city center. A largely agrarian community with few houses and populated by the Gbagi-speaking indigents of the FCT. It was a tale of horror and sadness on Thursday, September the 10th, 2020, after the community was invaded by gunmen who kidnapped some of the residents, including women and children. 11 persons were taken during the attack. 5 of them regained their freedom. Due to security reasons, we had to conceal their identities.
They spent almost 2 hours here. After they finish, they just carry us. They go inside bush. On the way going, my wife fainted. Can't get up again. They come select us one by one. In each house, when they carry us, 6 houses, when they carry Pekin, they carry their Pekin. Some they carry his father go. They say, make we go back, go find money. If no money, we like.
The last place that we reached, they selected us. They selected people that they know, said that they don't have strength again to work. So they selected about 5 of us, carry 6 people again, continue their journey.
This is the bush path through which the abductors left with their captives before a combined team of police and vigilante responded to the distress call.
All this was just happened tonight. They just started like around 12 night they start. For that 12, the call starts. Highest before that 12:30 starts them to us. This is the road where they follow. We must trace them, reach like a 2 kilometers before we get those 5 people they release.
As we put a call to the police and the rest authority in security, they find it very difficult to come for the rescue because due to the bad roads we have. Had it been the road as smoother than they are, I'm very sure that those abducted would have not gone like that. We will rescue all with the help of the police and the vigilante.
A few days later, the remaining victims returned to their families, with the community still in shock.
The 6 people that were seized and kidnapped in Tunga Maji under gunfire in their houses have been released after the family and all well-wishers put together the sum of 3.6 million naira to pay. These are poor people who had suffered, who they don't have any means of getting serious income, but rather than farming. You can imagine Tunga Maji. How many kilometers is Tunga Maji from the city center? It means that very soon even the people staying in Apo and the rest of them will not be sure of their security. FCT today is not a place that anybody can say he's sleeping with his eyes closed. The only people who are enjoying the security are only the people who are living in Asokoro and people who are living in Maitama.
The incidents occurred when residents of the nation's capital are still coming to terms with a purported internal memo from the Nigeria Customs Service. The memo identified some locations within and around the Federal Capital Territory where Boko Haram elements may be regrouping for a possible attack on the nation's capital. The locations identified in the memo include Kunyam Bush along Airport Road off DIA Staff Quarters, Rubochi Gwagwalada Forest, Kwaku Forest in Kuje, Unaisha Forest in Toto Local Government Area of Nasarawa State, and Gegu Forest close to Idu Town in Kogi State. This raised some concerns among residents of the nation's capital.
Ordinarily, what they should have done was to liaise with the State Security Service, which is the intelligence gathering agency for the country, because it caused a lot of panic, which is bound to. A lot of panic, and it jolted the members of the public, with that kind of information. The government must take appropriate measures in terms of such information. It could just be a coincidence, because we've been recording such incidents in Kuje, the outskirts of Abuja, Abaji, Duse and the rest of them. So it could just be a coincidence that it happened immediately they said it. But that is not to say that the information should have been swept under the carpet.
Before now, there have been reports of kidnapping similar to the one reported in Tunga Maji. There have been several reports of abductions in the FCT, especially in rural communities. On November 26, 2019, a traditional ruler in Rubochi community in Kuje Area Council was kidnapped by unknown gunmen. On December 23, 2019, 2 persons were abducted in Keti Village, Kabusa District in the Abuja Municipal Area Council. A student of Federal Government College Rubochi was also abducted on January 28, 2020.
In 2 years, we had more than, let's say, not more than 8 kidnapped different cases where people are taken in mass, where people will be taken. There were times that we had issues that about 12 people were kidnapped and they were asked to pay ransom, and they had to pay ransom. Even one of the village health son was killed.
Over the years, Boko Haram terrorists have carried out high-profile attacks in the nation's capital, including the attack on the force headquarters, the bombing of the United Nations building, the Nyanya bus park explosions, the Christmas Day bombing of Madala Catholic Church, the attack in the Banex area of the city center, and the bombing of the This Day newspaper office in Utako.
Security situation in the country, and as vis-a-vis the FCT, is not something that is encouraging, because it could be better. By all standards, it could be better. But this is the city center, for crying out loud, so it could be better. It's worse off outside the city. If you go to the other areas, the remote areas in the city center, it's worse off. In fact, they don't even have security. What you find that you have maybe police station, all those things are designed basically for some settlements and all of that. They don't really do proper containment measures, because even the way the environment is, it encourages for crime to actually go on, with ease.
Aside from these attacks, the criminal activities ravaging the FCT include murder, armed robbery, and cultism. The Federal Capital Territory is about the only part of the country that does not have any ongoing military operation. Nevertheless, security agencies are stepping up their operations to counter any form of attack. The military roadblocks at the entry points into the city center have become more strict, while a joint team of security agencies held a show of force around the city center.
Sequel to the security alert by a purported memorandum from the Nigerian Customs Service warning its staff on a possible attack on the FCT. The defense headquarters once again wish to reassure residents of the FCT and other adjoining states that the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies have been on red alert to combat crime and ensure effective surveillance of the FCT and other states of the country. The armed forces of Nigeria, working together with other security and response agencies, particularly the core intelligence agencies, hereby assure the general public that preemptive and preventive intelligence operations are ongoing. The general public is thus advised to go about their lawful businesses undeterred.
Meanwhile, during a meeting with a delegation of the Army Headquarters Garrison, the Minister of the FCT, Malam Mohammed Bello, wants the security agencies to intensify efforts to curtail any threat to the nation's capital.
The Federal Capital Territory will continue to remain very peaceful and secure for all of us to live in. This is our seat of government, and we must ensure that nothing happens around here.
For us to be able to secure our communities, it is very important for us to have credible intelligence, and also for us to ensure that all the policies enunciated that are meant to make us live harmoniously and have peace have to be enforced. So I think these critical two issues are issues that are not new to you. We'll continue to call upon you to support us in our various teams and committees that try to enforce regulations and also proactively contain threats.
These kidnappings and other forms of organized crime are gaining prominence in the nation's capital. It remains so even as the police arrest some of the criminals on a daily basis. Starting from the village called Izom, 7 degrees east longitude and 9 degrees latitude, project a straight line westward to a point just north of Lehu on the Kemi River. Then project a line across 6 degrees east southwards, passing close to the villages called Semasu, Zui and Basa, down to a place a little west of Abadi town. Then project a line along parallel 8 degrees north latitude to Ahinza village, 7 degrees on Kanama River. Then a straight line to Buga village on 8 degrees north latitude and 7 degrees east longitude. Then draw a line northward, joining the villages of Odu, Karshi and Karu. From Karu, the line shall proceed along the boundary between the Niger and Old Plateau states as far as Kawu. Then the line shall proceed along the boundary between Kaduna and Niger states up to a point just north of Wari village. Hence, the line goes straight to Zuba village and then straight to Izom. This is the constitutional definition of the area marked as the Federal Capital Territory. My guest this week is the FCT Police Commissioner, Mr. Balachi Roma. He admits that the police force is understaffed. The ideal ratio is 1 police officer to 400 residents. The nation's capital doesn't have that, but he's confident the support from the residents and the manpower available to him should help residents sleep easy. Thank you so much, Mr. Chiruma, for speaking with us this morning.
Yeah, welcome.
Let's talk a bit about that internal memo by Customs that talked about the repositioning of Boko Haram in some areas within and around the nation's capital. Could you talk to us a bit about, what the police force in Abuja is doing about that situation?
Well, a long time before the purported memo from the customs, we've been taking security measures appropriately around Abuja. However, I'm conscious of the fact that there is need for security around Abuja, most especially around this time. Ember months is some time we noticed we have in our crime club where there is a slight increase of crime. Therefore, whenever ember months approach, we tend to rejig our security arrangements so that we're able to maintain stability security-wise within the environment. Memo or no memo, we don't underrate any source of information. We evaluate. If there's anything to pick that will assist, enhance security, we'll pick and we'll rejig and ensure that we fortify security within and around Abuja.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that during the ember months, there's always, sort of like a rise in criminality. And we've seen this over the years, not just in the nation's capital, but of course all over the country. One in particular comes to mind, and that is the situation in Tunga Maji, the kidnappings that happened over there. Just to give an update on what's happened, since that situation happened.
We've been able to reorder our security arrangements there. We've also been able to get the victims back. We'll be addressing a conference to that effect soon.
All right, so during the conference, you'll be able to give more details.
We'll be able to give more details, yes.
All right. Well, are there particular areas in the nation's capital that people should be, maybe not worried about, but if they live in those places, maybe they should take extra precautions these months?
No, we've tried not to leave any ungoverned space within the FCT. Almost everywhere we think is significant and we think there are threats, we've already deployed policemen to those locations. All we need is information from members of the public to assist, enhance our activity. We've been receiving cooperation, we've been getting information via this cooperation from members of the public, and it has led to a relative success within the FCT.
Just for clarification, what's the turnaround time? Like if someone calls for an emergency,
well, it depends on the terrain. Now there are terrains that are well ordered. There's a street name, there's a street number, so it's well ordered, right? You expect that maybe 10-15 minutes response time, but then there are terrains where maybe around Buza Al-Haji, right? Where there are no street names, where the streets are maybe difficult to locate. You have to go by description. You don't expect the response time in such a situation to be the same as will be in Asokoro or Metama.
Well, at least people understand that. It's best that they know it, because you would hear many residents, we call and we don't get response immediately. The police comes, but by the time they come, maybe the crime is finished or people have left the area and whatnot. So it basically has to do with the terrain.
The ability to describe your location. It's very important when reporting an incident. There is need for precision.
You were talking about the cooperation from the public and how it is wonderful. It made me think about, collaborations with sister agencies in ensuring that crime and criminality is checked in the nation's capital. Could you talk to us a bit about some of those collaborations going on?
I think ours is a model. FCT is a model. There is synergy between security agencies where all security agencies come together, we do our planning together, we accept that there is a lead agency for internal security and all others come to render assistance to us. And we've been carrying everyone along. And that is where the levels of successes we have within FCT.
You said it's a model. Explain that more.
What I'm trying to say is that the relationship between agencies is perfect in FCT. And that is why I said it's a model. We meet frequently to analyze security situations and profile solutions. That is what I'm getting at.
Should FCT residents feel like they're safe right now? Should they
it's
feel
not that they should
that
feel,
everything is
It's
fine?
not that they should feel that they're safe. I want them to believe that they are. They should be very conscious of their environment. they should not hesitate to give information to the police. We don't take any information given lightly. Even if it will turn out to be wrong, it is worth at least checking on.
Well, it is easy, maybe in the urban areas in the nation's capital, for us to be able to have those kind of neighborhood watches and whatnot. But in the rural areas, where we actually do see that crime, happens, like in Tunga Maji that we're talking about.
I like the model in the rural areas.
Oh, do you?
We do. We liaise with the members of the traditional institutions. And they have a spread. You have the emir, you have the degati, you have the Angua, so on and so forth. So their own system of passing on information is almost perfect. And therefore, we get information quite readily using the traditional institution in such rural areas.
Many rural communities have been clamoring for police posts in their area, especially places that have had kidnappings and whatnot. They always talk about, oh yes, the police shows up, they do, you do like your parade, you go around, you check, you get your information, but to have a permanent police post in some of these rural communities, what's been done about that?
The truth of the matter is, almost every significant community within areas that we've marked as having problems, likely problems of kidnapping, what we've done is that we have deployment of police mobile personnel. Take Yebu. Yebu, in fact, we established a division in Yebu. Rubochi, we fortified the number of policemen that we have there. Gorgoda, we deployed PMF and a host of other communities, just to ensure that we reassure the citizens and provide actual protection. And I think it's paying off.
Well, good luck with the work that you do, and we're looking forward to the coming months. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
That you remember speaking with us. I know we say this every week on the program, but you really must let us know the happenings in your neighborhood, especially as the year draws to a close. You can reach us using the social media handles on your screen, and if you feel uncomfortable with anything going on around you, call the police on these numbers. Now, before we leave, we have some feedback from you on our previous programs. Ichie Ezeji writes us on Twitter. He says, what is the status of the road built to connect Karshi and Apo and meant to ease the perennial traffic logjam on the Abuja-Kefi road? Is it still ongoing or abandoned? Well, Ichie, we are told by the FCDA and AMAC authorities that a collaboration is ongoing to complete the road. Gregory says, the show today on At Dateline Abuja with Kayla Megwa was insightful, particularly on the number of abandoned projects in Abuja alone and the reasons and factors that led to these. It was time well spent, and I look forward to next week's episode. Thanks, Gregory. At Onuche Angel says, I just watched your program on land matters, and now I have this question. As a landowner who has already gotten a signatory from the community chief, what step am I supposed to take to document my property with the FCDA? Onuche, you have to go to the Abuja Geographical Information System in Garki Area 11 with all the documents. You must get clarification on the status of that piece of land. Femi Ojuola says, just watch your program and will want to know all that I must do before buying a government land in any of the area councils. What must I look out for? And where do I go to ascertain if the land is genuine? Well, Femi, the same answer goes to you. You must go to the Abuja Geographical Information System in Garki Area 11 with all the documents you have to get clarification on the status of that piece of land. That's our show today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Megwa. See you next time.